then here we go. Okay. Okay, let's set this appropriately. So you can do that. That's fine. But then you sort of have to go, this fortify is going to happen. So who's answering the fortify, or who's answering the halt?
We have Ash and Mercy amping her in the back, and I mean
No,
this
no,
would
no.
be a good angle for a headshot. But the Sig
Who's
Shield's kind of in the way of everyone else.
who's
With what we have, we want the Ash to throw dynamite into the halt.
okay? Okay,
That's what I
fine.
would think.
Yep, that's fine. Sure, let's go for that. We can throw the dynamite into the halt. We're not really in the ideal range to do that. Do we feel like we've softened the shield up enough? Do we feel like the shield is going to break instantly and we're going to get halt and we're going to get value on the halt here?
No.
No.
Okay, that's fine. I don't necessarily hate it because your halt situation isn't going to get much better, right? Like you do need to get the halt in before they get through. You don't want them to be split in here, but this is perhaps a tiny bit earlier. We perhaps could have, actually put a little more pressure on this before we threw our halt out. But not a big deal. That's fine. Great. So we're kind of giving up the point of playing soldier here, aren't we? Like we're going like this, and we're doing our running back and forth and doing soldier. But sort of the point of playing soldier is how fast we rotate, right? So why are we not like being just a little bit more extreme with our angle over here? We can go back, like we can get out real fast. If they come through and try to threaten this, we can get out real fast. But at the moment, we can make this angle a bit deeper, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Sure. Okay. It's not amazing, but it's doable. So you guys are thinking, hey, we're going to turtle in here, and that's going to be our solution. So you can do that. Like, that's an option. But you guys had that soldier, right?
Mhm.
Now, the soldier can't shoot at them from up here, but, like, they can't really shoot at him either, right? And are
Right.
you really trying to bring... What does winning a shield war with these guys do?
Nothing.
Right. Oh no, you won the shield war against us. We're going to back up, and when we're happy, we'll try again. It buys you a tiny bit of time. So what you really need to do is you need to be able to punish these guys once they drop. Like you can happily take a little bit of the shield war, I suppose, but we don't need to be like, oh, I need maximum uptime. I need my soldier and my Ash and my Orisa. Everyone's shooting at you right now. No, I'm perfectly happy to go. Like my Orisa can stand right here and just sort of chill, and then come out when they drop on point. And I can have my soldier Sigma over here. And what are they going to do if I put my soldier Sigma here? Are these guys vulnerable to being dropped on and run over if I put my soldier Sigma over here?
Not
Not
really
really,
with their
no.
speed
Not
out.
really. Like,
Right.
would this be? Here's a question: would this be different if they were doing like a death ball type of comp where they can speed boost and run over a soldier and a Sigma standing over there?
Well, the answer to that becomes A, I still don't think they can run over your soldier standing over there, though perhaps they can get your Sigma if you're sending the pair over there. But the other question is, you are happy to let them expose their back, to your core team to chase after these guys who are at least going to be able to kite a little bit, right? They're at least going to part way be able to get out, part way get away, and all that time is time that you are slamming these guys in the back, right? And like they can kite over here, they can go over here, they can drop and then go this way. They can go this way. Whatever they do, it's going to extend the amount of time that your core gets to shoot these guys in the back as they're chasing them, right?
All right, that makes sense. I just wanted to know if this is like a strategy to counter this specific comp, or if this is a more general strategy.
So
That makes
it's
sense.
going to work pretty well against Poke and Brawl. It's going to be a little less good if they were on a dive comp or something related to dive, because then it's the, okay, we come out of here, we take no damage, we send some of these guys back here. And it could also be a problem if they were smarter on this and left a few people back here and they did a pincer thing where like 2 people came through here as 3 or 4 people pushed you from here. That could be a problem, but that's not what they're doing. And they're not terribly likely to do that in this comp, especially if you know where their sigma is. Now, you might not know where their sigma is right now, but this isn't a dev comp. They're probably not going to do that. So you were just happy to go, okay, well, you're never going to take the point from us. Like, you can stand up here literally as long as you want shooting at us. Eventually, we're going to get bored and just stop giving you things to shoot at while we stand here and here. And then what are you going to do? No, really, what are you going to do, guys? Like, there's nothing that they can do other than go, okay, we'll open the angle to attack you more. Okay, or we'll drop someone on point. Okay, now we'll open angles and we'll attack the person on the point. But if they don't put anyone on the point, so be it. And is there anyone that they can put on the point that is then cheap to leave the point, like a Diva or a Hammond?
Just a Hanzo,
No.
really, or maybe the Ash.
Yeah, but Hanzo or Ash are going to get blown up if they so much as touch
Yeah.
the point,
The
right?
closest thing is the
Nobody
Orisa
else
with
can drop.
Fortify.
So the closest thing is what?
Orisa with Fortify.
Right, but she can't on and off. If she ons, it's an all in. Like, there's
Yeah.
no going back for Orisa. She might survive a while with the Fortify and then a fresh shield, but it's an all in. Like, you can go, hey, they can't back out of this if that's the case. So you're pretty happy to just go, earn it. Like, actually put someone on the point. We just don't care about this fight. The time ticks in our favor. So that's really how we'd be thinking about this. And we'd be thinking about this with when you do drop someone onto the point, it sure would be nice to be able to shoot them from multiple angles. We might want someone over here, but I'm a little hesitant on it because I don't want to get blown up. So my team that was here either rotated into here or split and rotated over to here. Okay.
I think we just rotate shields here for like the next minute.
Nice. How
Where
inefficient.
no, both sides. We just
Yeah.
farm up until we get close to ults, and then there's a mistake from our BAP, and then BAP died, and then they could push onto us.
Okay.
That's basically all that happens.
Yeah, kind of boring. Not like terrible, but what you run into is if you're both playing poke comps, the team with the better angles wins. Like, that's generally how that's going to go. Neither of you are really taking angles from your team. You're both just stacking on your team and trying to play the shield war thing, which you could definitely outdo. You can't really rotate shields any longer. Like, what if you guys had someone, you can't do this, but what if you had someone here? Well, they can't rotate shields any longer. They have to pay some attention to this direction. You wouldn't actually put someone here. But the point is, you can sort of rotate your shields in one direction for much, much longer than you can cover two directions, right? Even if it's the same amount of incoming damage split between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we don't really like to be stacked like this, and that's why you guys are going to be able to do this back and forth for a minute. And ultimately, we would expect them to win because they do have the high ground, and hey, that's a small advantage, and that adds up. You guys have a tiny bit of a different angle with your Ash here, but not much. Oh, they're going to window, and we're just not going to fight. And their window was worthless because you guys correctly decided we're just not going to fight, and they have no angles to force you to fight. Their turn to just say, we won't fight. Oh, but we're going to visor too. So do we want to visor and window at the same time?
No.
Why not?
Not in this situation, no.
You double the strength of the window or the visor if you send it through the window, right?
Yeah.
They're on high ground. They have just far too many ways to not take damage from any of it.
Right.
Like, disregarding the fact that they could just back up. They're
Yeah.
on high ground and we have less visibility.
Right. We can double our damage. We can quadruple our damage. This high ground that we have to shoot through has infinite health. So, we can throw 1,000 damage at it, 4,000 damage at it. It's still got infinite health. So that's not really going to do much for us. You got it. Okay. So when might you want to use window and visor at the same time?
As soon as they drop.
Yeah. When they're stuck out in the point and their only cover is that tiny fountain.
You could. Yeah, you absolutely could. It might be enough damage to just blow them up. How much health does Sigma's shift eat?
As much as it can.
Huh. Interesting.
So you can
And-
just place it on your shield and have an infinite health shield for like 3 seconds, right?
Well, it actually does have a cap for how much health it'll give him, but yes, it will absorb infinite damage. So it would be a little annoying to attack visor through window if their Sigma still had shift up, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the same would sort of be true if they had defense matrix, and the same is sort of true if they have Maywall, even though Maywall's breakable. Like, all that stuff sort of hits like infinite damage or quadruple or double or whatever damage is pretty nice, and maybe we get mercy boost in there to make it more than double and all that. Like, it's pretty nice. But what you really run into is they're both really strong poke ults that enhance the amount of poke pressure that your team applies. And usually what happens when you use either one of them is the opposing team uses tools like Rhine Shield, Orisa Shield, Shift, Sigma Shift, Lucio Speed, Maywall to get to cover, and then they're good. So unless using both of them gets you the value within like the first second before they're able to get behind cover, it generally is no different than having used one of them, right? Like, unless in that first second or so you get an elimination that using just window would have gotten you, using your visor and window together doesn't really get you much, right?
Like it would maybe speed up some stuff, but it doesn't necessarily change the fight itself.
I'm not even sure it speeds up stuff. Like, what happens is it speeds up an elimination if you... How do I want to put this? If they were going to make it to cover, and you visoring makes you do more damage, so you put a window down, and they start to run to cover, and they're far enough from cover that you visoring through the window makes the difference, and they get eliminated, yes, that's a situation where it matters. But that doesn't happen very often. Most of the time, like, there's tools that they can use to get to cover with a second, kind of almost irregardless of the damage coming in. Would you say that's true?
Right.
So,
And
go ahead.
if they have used all those tools already, it's not really worth investing both ults.
Sure.
Ah.
Well, that's true. That's true. But where I'm actually going to go with this is they tend to run behind cover. What compromises cover?
I don't know what you mean by that.
So,
Like,
sure. Let's pretend that I am. This isn't an amazing spot. Let's go to second point just to illustrate better. Let's pretend that I'm here. I'm attacking. Let's actually be defending. We're defending because we're defending. If I drop a window right here, I can shoot at the bad guys. If I shoot at the bad guys are going to go, I don't like that, and stand here, right?
Mm-hmm.
This cover is totally effective against that direction where the sarcophagus statue is, right? Like, totally effective, no problem, I'm good. Is it effective against this direction over here?
No.
Okay.
Not as much.
It's only sort of effect. It's like you change the effective cover. So like this cover might be good against forward, but it doesn't protect me against that direction or really even that direction or a vertical direction. Like that's the thing that we're aware of. Or we could be here and this protects me against against the doorway, but it doesn't protect me against a widow up here, right? A widow can shoot me over that if I'm at all back over that small wall there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I'm down here, I can't. So different angles compromise the value of cover. And right now, you guys have one angle, barely two angles, and you're using your tack visor and your window from the same angle. If you were in a situation where you went, hey, I'm windowing from over here, and I'm tack visoring from here, and the opposing team was here, they might put up shield, sigma shift, etc., and rotate themselves over to here, and that might sort of work for them. But while doing so, they're getting peppered from the other direction too. Or maybe that visor's really scary, so they put their shields up and they rotate over here, but they're still vulnerable to that window.
Right.
So do you guys see where I'm going with this? Where it's like, it can be okay to use your tack visor, your high noon, your whatever at the same time as your window, but it's going to be really rare that it pays off to use them on top of each other as opposed to threaten from different angles.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's something I'd really want you guys to think about. Like, those are both ults that kind of do the same thing. Window and visor, they make the enemy run to cover against the direction that you use them from. So we either want to stagger them, so we use one, and then maybe we take space, and then we use the other, or we want to go, hey, these are threatening from two different angles if we're using them simultaneously, because then you're just going to be overwhelmed. You can't protect the directions. If you rotate to cover against one of us, there's a pretty good chance it's not cover against the other. Okay. So we've sort of hit another reason where, hey, it sure would have been nice to have an off angle over here. This is a trend that's going to continue, by the way. So we kind of got nothing for this. And that's unfortunate, but we just sort of got a bit greedy here where we're like, hey, we want to try. I think this is greed because we like used ults and we feel like we should have got something and we didn't. And then we're like, well, maybe we can get something with our halt. I assume that's what's going on. CTW, maybe you'll tell me otherwise. Maybe you'll tell me like, no, this isn't greed. There was absolutely an opening. But this sort of looks like frustration that we didn't get anything with everything we threw at them. But
Yeah, he's not here, but I think that's probably right because I believe at the time he says something about like knowing that was a mistake and just
sure.
wanting to do something.
Yeah, probably wants to make up for it. Ult didn't get value. So it sucks that you guys lost some ults, but other than having lost some ults, is there anything going wrong in this fight right now, other than your bat being way out of position and your Sigma being a bit out of position?
They haven't started capping, and the time's still ticking down. So
Right,
no.
we're good. We're perfectly happy. Like, oh, cool, more time off the clock until this.
Real quick, if you don't mind, we have somebody who's late. If you can just pull him into this, please, that'd be great.
No, he's late. He doesn't get to attend now. I'm
Okay, that's fair.
one of those
That's fine.
professors that just locks the door when students are late. No, I'm kidding, obviously. Okay, there we go.
It's fucking dank.
There we go. Okay, so you guys make a good decision here. You choose to just mostly stabilize. Well, you almost make a good decision. You choose to go, hey, we don't want to fight through the Bob, and we'd like to stall as much time as possible for our BAP to get back. And hopefully our soldier's going to do this. We're about to do something really cool. We're about to be like, hey, our soldier is going to push in. At the same time, our Mercy Ash is going to push in. At the same time, our tank line is going to push out. Like, this is going to be great. We're going to have synchronized aggression, and we're going to have angles, and that's going to give us a chance to win this even while we're down our BAP. But we lost our BAP. Let's give up a tick. Let's let their Bob run out before we do that, and give ourselves more time for our BAP to start to get back. And then here we go. Oh, well, Ash is open to the angle, but is Orisa, Sigma, or Soldier fighting right now?
No.
Right, so this could have been really cool, but I actually think Orisa's fighting a little bit, but like, we only have 3 people fighting when we sort of need 5 fighting from 3 different angles, and we're set up to fight from 3 different angles. Like, if our soldier decided, oh, now's the time, if someone had told me now is the time, I would totally shoot this Sigma in the side. And our Sigma could be like, oh, I can support this, or I can poke out here and do this. Like, these are all great options that you have. This is just a synchronization issue. So how could you guys have fixed this?
Countdown.
Yeah, that would work. That would work. You could do a countdown, and if someone gets pushed, they could call it, because, you know, it might change. You might expect to open the angle in 3 seconds, and it might get forced open on you. But yeah, absolutely. And who would be a good idea of who should control the countdown?
Probably your main tank.
Why?
They're the person that wants to be able to create the space that you need to hold. So if you, and in this circumstance specifically, if you put your main tank's face out front 1st, they're going to look at him and create the distraction that your DPS need to be able to do the damage in the back line.
Perfect. If you have any sort of air margin and you don't all peak simultaneously, your main tank is in theory the one who has the bulk, the tool, to survive with the angle open a little longer, to survive the eyeballs coming to them first. Your main tank in this situation also has another tool that's really useful for leading engages. Any idea what that is? It's on my screen right now.
Halt.
Yes. So when your main tank peeks, they can time it around their shield, they can time it around their halt, and both of those are really good tools for the engage. The shield helps them be able to hold that angle open longer, which is like a signal to your entire team of when your team can greed. Whether the team is using the shield or not, the main tank is, and that means the tank can afford to be peaking that whole time, have good uptime, and the halt is like your go button. It's your green flag in this poke team for like, let's use our stuff. Let's send our Helix rockets. Let's send our TNTs. Let's look for headshots. Like, that's a great thing to synergize around. Both of Orissa's cooldowns are great to, well, 2 out of 3 of Orissa's cooldowns are great to synergize around.
Objective lost.
I believe, Mercy.
New defense point. Objective B.
I did actually do it.
Oh, wow!
Just
Oh,
barely.
wow! With the sonic arrow stuck in your side
What a
the whole
guy.
time. You're just
What a
like,
guy.
I was
let me look
screaming the
away.
whole way. Internally, but still.
Okay, so we see this. We see what's going on here. Storm has already taken his spot up here, her spot up here, and that it's just an optical illusion that we see them down here. They're actually up here shooting with their angle.
Obviously.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna take angles, right? Right? Okay, CTW way too far forward, but not here, so I guess I can't really help with that. Like, if we're BAP, is this our spot? No.
Absolutely not.
Our spot could be back here. Our spot could be back here. Our spot could even arguably be back here. Could even argue for back here. But, like, there's no way that our spot is, just, like, inches behind our tank here. But where could the rest of us position? Because I understand CTW isn't here. So what about the rest of this? From their perspective, you guys are just kind of, like, all in a line there, right? Like, one bowling ball through, like, aha, I got a strike.
Yeah.
So maybe we fix that. So where could you guys be? I can tell you, but it's more helpful if you guys figure it out.
Well, like you
feel
said, like
like-
I should be up on the high ground more.
I should be
right.
The
back.
sarcophagus.
I should be back a little bit. So like they're windowing here. I
Have
cover
nowhere to
me
go.
behind.
Right.
Yeah, or be back like one corner.
You could use the sarcophagus, yep. Okay, in that case, so we've put our Ash up here. We've put our Orisa here. We've put our BAP somewhere further back. What are we doing with the rest of you?
I either float around behind the pillar that the ash is on, or I sit in the room behind point if Soldier is playing from there, and
Room
I
behind
could help
point.
one or the
so,
other of them.
So is
depending
Soldier
on
going to
who
go
I-
like over here? Is that what you're thinking?
No, the room behind point.
That wouldn't
Oh,
be a bad
right.
rotation though.
Behind the sarcophagus. Behind sarcophagus.
They're pretty safe over there. I mean, they can
Sorry.
turn for you, but you just run into spawn.
Yeah.
So, yes. So what I would say is, yeah, you're mostly going to probably be interested in the Ash up here. It's possible that you'd play from here instead, where you'd be like, yes, I'm back here. I can keep an eye on this. I can pocket my Orisa. I can pocket whoever's here. I can boom up to the Ash here, no problem. We talked about a potential place for our Soldier over here, and it's not a terrible one, though the situation can change pretty quickly. Where should our Sigma be then?
Our Sigma should always be accompanying somebody, and I feel like in this case, they would be best off accompanying. I want to say Soldier or Orisa.
So that's fine with me. I'm fine conceptually with someone generally accompanying our Sigma or vice versa. I don't actually hard require that. This is a little gimmicky for Soldier. Like, if you get the read and you set him up here, fine, no problem. But you're not always going to get the read of the rotation of this is where they're going, and so I'm going to set up here type thing. So what is more commonly going to be your thing is if your Orisa is here, your Sigma, and therefore probably your Soldier are both going to be here. And they have an easy time going, Sigma can keep this and keep peppering them from here and has cover that they can use. And Soldier can either pepper from here with the angle or can get aggressive and go, okay, as you guys push through, I'm going to shoot you from behind thing with sprint, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's sort of our answer, and then we'd have just tucked our BAP either back here or back here, and then they have cover options because they can drop, etc. So that would have been a much better defense. You guys are now sort of cut with your pants down a little for this window, aren't you?
Right.
Not like terrible. You should still make it to cover, but okay.
That was a good old combo, I think.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Now, they were always going to have the lamp, so this becomes a question of, hey, this was always going to happen. Can we get pressure on them fast enough to get the lamp out? We can't, and so they get the lamp out late, which is perfect for them. So we wanted to, really get the pressure in there in terms of what can we do. That said, this is good. So I think we just had a communication error here.
We did.
Okay, because covering the res is good, but do we actually need to cover the res or do we need to cover the reser?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just shouted cover, I'm rezzing, and
Yeah.
he kind of interpreted the what I didn't mean,
Yes.
and I
He just didn't know exactly where you were when you were rezzing, honestly, because he was pretty focused on facing forward, trying to eat the window.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
for sure.
it was just a miscommunication between us. I should have been more specific.
But again, your default positioning gizmo would usually be here. So it would usually be like, hey, sure, I can code forward to eat stuff with shift if I want, but I'm also perfectly happy to say, like, should anyone really be behind you that doesn't have their own cover? Like, if you're standing here, should anyone be behind you that doesn't have their own cover options?
No.
Right. So, like, you being here is like, I have my cover option. Maybe I'll float over here because I'm being greedy to use my shift and I want, like, a bunch of extra health. Cool. Sounds good to me. I'm fine with that. And then I'm going to end it over here type thing. But you were always operating about this in our ideal world. Okay. We've brought out a ball to stall. We've come behind them for some work. This can save it. Storm?
Yes.
Why did you go? Like, we sort of know which direction the team is operating around, right?
Yeah.
And we're Reaper, who's really short range, right?
Right.
So, like, this just intuitively made more sense, right?
No, it does. Like
Okay.
my head at that point was in like stall mode, which is why I even went to him in the first place.
Sure.
But yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking we have plenty of people alive, but I do understand where you're coming from. Of when you picked him, you were probably thinking, oh, what do I do? Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Here we are. Probably wouldn't have pulled out the pistol and Valkyr. What are we going for specifically?
I'm panicking.
Okay. Because I'm like, you've got some chain beaming here. You can probably get 3 of them most of the time with your beam right now. That's going to be better than your pistol most of the time. Okay. Who's going to do more damage while they're in the air? Your BAP or your Sigma?
All
BAP.
people are lifted, BAP.
Right. So it gets micro because you're going to be doing some swapping back and forth, but after you've boosted the lift, even though Sigma's going to try to get 1 to 2 rounds off, the BAP, even if there wasn't a window in play, just makes more sense as your boost. You might Guardian Angel up to the Sigma because you like the sky, but your actual beam target is probably going to be the BAP unless you're worried about losing your Sigma's health.
That makes a lot of sense. Full disclosure, I put a lot of time into learning Mercy recently, but it was definitely not my first character, and getting getting advice for what to do in those snap decisions is really helpful to me.
Good. Okay.
Because I'm bad at them, and I know I'm bad at them.
Okay. Well, some of it
So
is
thank
like,
you.
and that's fine, but we've also got to get it to a point where it's like it doesn't feel like there's a million things going on at once, so that you feel
It's
less
not a
stress in
snap
making this.
decision. It's a common thing that just you do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It needs to not feel like a snap decision. It needs to become sort of a, hey, the game is actually going at a pace that I can handle. This is fine, because you get so used to all the decisions around it. Okay, so they have no map control. We've chosen to stay on ball. We have mines, no problem. And we sort of have angles now. Okay. I'm still not sure why we like our BAP quite so far forward.
Oh, we like it, but he does.
So this isn't terrible, but what you sort of think about with this is this would usually be what we call as a soft engage, where we're sort of going for, we want to tax you, we want to get some resources out of you, we want to punish you a little during your rotation, we want to make you scared. If we can get an elimination, great, but we'd sort of like something to go right before we invest ults in this fight, because we don't actually expect to finish them off here. Like, we have the ability to poke at them here, to do some work on them here, but do we expect to beat these guys? Like, do we expect to actually get an elimination right here? Let's pretend we hadn't used mines. If we hadn't used mines, do we expect to get an elimination as they rotate from here to here? Like, that's a pretty short distance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very easy to protect. A single cooldown is mostly going to get them across there. And it's kind of going to stop us from getting an elimination. Like, we might break a Sigma shield and make them unhappy. We might scare them and like get a fortified Orisa down to 30% health or something. We might get some squishies down to 50 HP. Maybe we combo a TNT and a Halt and we actually get someone. We actually get an elimination. But unless we get something big like a Halt combo that's meaningful, we don't really expect to get eliminations on this. Is that a fair assertion?
Yes.
So like, I'm totally good if we go, hey, let's hit our pile drive here, and maybe we hit our pile drive and our adaptive shield here, and maybe we pile drive and rock because we're trying to combo something, etc. Or TNT if we had it at this moment, and maybe like that's all fine with me. And maybe we try to hit our wall to punish this even. Like, I am good with all of that. But if we don't get anything, if we don't get a big, nice, like, oh yes, we got a nice lead, I probably don't want us to actually invest ults in this, because this isn't the real engage. This is I'm going to try to, if we get eliminations, great, we can go for more, but really we're mostly expecting to go, we're going to use some cooldowns, potentially some big cooldowns, to try to get more back out of you, to try to soften you up as you're rotating, because we would like you to be weak. We would like you to have to either spend more time recovering resources in here because we're defense, or to rush it, and then you're coming in and we have our nice angles and you're trying to push in while you're down on resources, and that's just not going to be a good time. We're down on resources too, but we have the better positioning, right?
Yes.
So we'd sort of like to go ahead.
I have a question.
By
With
all means.
mine, that like little alleyway is like, let's say that they're down on resources, is like the best place to attack, right? That's the best place to put it,
If
right?
you can split them with the mines here, like, yes, that's going to be good, except that the problem that you sort of run into is, if you were running like a full dive comp, you'd probably just override what I just said, and you'd go, hey, we're going to mine, we're going to have our tracer in here, we're going to drop TNT into here, it's going to be amazing. But the problem is, you don't really have great follow-up on this team, do you? Like, you have a fair amount of poke, but you don't have something here that you can really high probability confirm eliminations on. Would you say that's true?
Yes.
Okay. So like, this could be a good place, and if you hit if you hit some good things, like you got you hit a giant pile drive, they get really weak, and you go, okay, this is a good one. My team has done good work. I'm going to drop the mines. I can potentially go for that, but I think of this generally as like, we would like to take a soft engage here, and then we would like to take our real engage here. Or we'd like to take another soft engage here, and then we'd like to take our real engage here type thing. Like, you sort of think of this as you pressure them multiple times when you're on defense and you're playing a dive hero like this because you're not ready to beat this team yet. And Mines might let you trump them and do it anyways. Like, yes, that may happen, but you run it. How do I want to word this? What's the best solution to ults?
The best what?
What's the best solution? What's a really good solution to ults? What are some of the solutions in general to ults? To the enemy team using
Oh,
ultimates?
like cooldowns, just kiting at cooldowns.
Right, cooldowns are a
outplaying
good
it.
solution to ults. So you sort of would like to use your ults after they're out some cooldowns. Now, that's not always true. Sometimes you can use ults to get their cooldowns and then beat them with your cooldowns. But if you use your ult right here and they get through using their cooldowns, can you force a fight on them and win?
No.
Oh, but I don't. My reason for engaging here is
You
I
don't think they can
I
get through?
No, I don't think that if they get through,
Mhm.
my Mines would be able to stop their push because they have dragons coming up. They have supercharger. I mean bongo. They have Bob coming up.
Okay.
So like after they get through that choke, I felt like that was the last place they could actually do anything and kill them.
Okay.
Because it's really hard to engage with Ball in that other room. And then if
Sure.
they get onto point, by that point, they would already have like Bob out, and I don't think I could turn a fight with Mines.
Sure.
And
So
we don't
that's
have any other ults.
So that's good. So if you're thinking to yourself, hey, their ults are a bad matchup for my ults, and this is the last place I need to effectively cancel this team fight because if their ults get online, we're just going to lose. I'm totally good with that. I'm totally good with you going, we don't have any other ults. This is the best chance I'm going to get. I have to cancel this fight because if I don't, we just lose. And if that's your thought, if that was the game plan, I'm very happy with that game plan. I got no objection.
Yeah, he did say, I remember him saying ahead of time that he was gonna try and stop the fight early with Mines. He didn't, of course, have time to
He doesn't
say
have
his
to give you the whole
reasoning,
reason, but yeah, that's
yeah.
fine. As long as you understood, hey, we're doing this because we lose if they get to set up and do their stuff, that's totally good with me. You're trying to cancel the team fight. Generally speaking, what you do is, if they didn't have quite the huge ult bank that they have on you, you'd soften them up here, they'd come through, push here, and you'd go, hey, that's fine. It's not as tight and good a spot, but I can still mine your backline and make you annoyed as your front line sort of pushes in here. Like, that's still going to be very annoying for you because it forces them out into your open space and their cover sucks out here. But that's totally legit and a great point in this particular situation.
Good thing the DPS got some kills.
Absolutely.
But bad thing I got walled by my own Mei.
Yeah, well, you did, but you were a necessary sacrifice to get through Orisa. And that's actually a good trade right now because you guys are on top of your spawn. The only time it's okay for your Mei to kill you. No, it's a good trade. I can see that. That'll be the meme.
Bye.
He was innocent, casualty of war.
Your sacrifice was for the greater good.
Didn't realize that at the time, though.
Bye-bye.
Okay. This I'm less thrilled with. Okay, so we're just a little late, but that's fine. We'll leave.
I have a really bad engagement here.
Yep. Oh, and now we used our shield on that too. That is a little rough. Yeah. Now our Sigma's staging around the correct spot. I spoke too soon. Now you're going to play from here and your ball's going there. No problem.
Oh, I got sonar out there. I didn't actually.
Okay.
Never mind.
So do we want this engage at all?
No.
Okay. So what are we going to do if we don't want this engage at all?
Take cover.
Yeah, we can just leave. We can leave or we can Mei wall and break the Bob. Either way. But, we're probably better set up to leave at this standpoint. Oh, we could split the difference and do both poorly. Okay, so this is exactly that. So, we just weren't decisive enough in our plan. If we'd called this just like an instant, if we'd called this as soon as the Bob came out, it could have been a disengage, and it would have been awkward, but our ball and our May probably could have gotten out. If we'd called hard commit Bob, that could have worked too. Our ball still probably would have went, yeah, I'm not doing this because there's no point in me fighting them when our wall's going to go up. If we haven't split them at least. And in general, I'd say the ball going in here, if we're using the May and the ball, it's a little awkward, but what is the point of the ball engaging?
You slow them down.
Disrupt.
It slows them down and it turns them around, it turns some attention. So like if you engage, and what's the point of the May wall?
It splits them.
Right. So
Well,
if
that's
you
enough.
engage with your ball while your May wall is up, you engage on the left side of the wall from this perspective while your May wall is up, all you're really doing is sort of making them break the wall a little more slowly, right? So it's probably better to actually let your May wall be the initiation, and then sort of after they've broken or started to break the May wall, engage, right?
Mhm.
I know it's super niche, but like these heroes don't usually get played together, but since they both are sort of doing that. So even if we hadn't been thinking about, oh, well, there's Bob that we may have to deal with, etc., like we don't need that ult economy read. We can just go, I'd sort of like them to already be shooting at the May wall when I engage on Paul. It's cheap. Like the May's wall is a cheaper resource than my health.
Right. I think when I put that May wall up, I was just trying to minimize the targets we had to focus on.
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't have an issue with this May wall. I just have an issue with the fact that we did the May wall while, our team, we weren't on the same page of let's all delete this Bob super quick, because we totally could have. Yeah.
Get on that page juicier though, because I was just planning to engage there. I didn't know that we had Maywall coming out there. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Right. So I
This-
think.
I was thinking that we could engage with like a May ult here because that was fight plan.
That was the plan, but then the Bob came in, and my wall was a knee-jerk reaction to that.
So I don't like that plan. Like, I don't mind using the Blizzard, don't get me wrong, the plan can use Blizzard, but there's almost no situation, especially when our May is posted where she is, where the wall isn't going to be like our opener to the fight. Like, if we look at this, whether they Bob or not, like, let's pretend they don't Bob. Is the plan that like we're gonna knock them in? Is that what you're thinking, Emerald? Like you're gonna knock them in?
I think the
and
plan
then
was
we're gonna
originally we give them enough space to walk in.
Okay.
And when they walk in, I wall them from backing up in Blizzard. But then Bob came through instead.
Yeah, but that's fine. So it was always going to start around the wall.
Yes.
So again, if it was always going to start around the wall, we actually wanted our ball to go in after the wall went up, right?
I think the only thing is that when we were coming up with our fight plan, the wall part was left out. So like we knew that the May ult engage was going to happen, but specifically about them being the wall not being able to back out, all that part we didn't get on the same page.
I don't know that I want that shared in the fight plan though, because it's kind of assumed. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to take that comm space because like it's okay that it wasn't assumed this time. That's totally fine. But I think now that you guys can look at it as a team, you can be like, well, hey guys, if they're gonna walk through a choke and we're gonna Blizzard, like it's kind of assumed that we're gonna wall their backs for the Blizzard, right?
Right.
So like. Again, like I totally get why you weren't on the same page, and this is what happens in scrims. You're like, oh, we should see that, and now you make this adjustment, and you don't even need to talk about this anymore. You don't need to talk about this in the plan. I think you're all probably gonna get like, oh, of course that's what we're doing in this plan. Like the plan might be 6 words long, but it includes a 50-word idea, and this is part of the 50-word idea. Is that a fair belief as an assertion here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Now, I think there could have been a burn Bob call type thing because, like, I'm not sure that the team would have been on that page, or there could have been an out call. Either way, like, I could deal with either of those calls. I think that call needed to happen because this is an adjustment to the plan. Hey, we didn't get anyone with our wall other than Bob, and our team probably was set up to shoot at people here, not to shoot people here. So there we absolutely could have had some comm stuff.
Sterben nicht. Ist doch nicht vorbei. Deine Hexe ist da.
Okay. That McCree's inability to get you mercy is quite entertaining. Okay.
60 seconds.
And are we adjusting our comp? No, we're gonna stay on this. Okay. Okay, so they're probably the better poke comp than you, right?
Right.
Are they so much better at poke than you that you don't feel like you want to come out here and sort of poke them as they rotate across this rotation?
No. No, like we could have been fine to do. I think again, like at this point, we're still just like mentally trying to recover a little bit.
Sure.
So I don't think we were thinking about engaging that far ahead, but we could have. Yeah.
Right. Like you don't
This was
have
the
anyone
first-
in spawn right now. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think this is the first map of the evening where we actually started working together well and coming out on top.
Okay.
So I think we were just excited and worked up that we were actually holding it.
Nice. Nice.
And we were spending a lot of this time talking about fight plans,
Yep.
and that does still take a bit of focus away from everything else we're doing. So I
Absolutely.
think that's probably part of it.
Yep, and that's not a problem. And it's not like, oh no, how dare you not get this poke work. It's just like, hey, yeah, there's a bunch of things that are going to happen at once, and this is the thing that got dropped, and that's fine. We just want to recognize that it got dropped, and we don't even have to fix it this week, next week, or the following week. We can keep focusing hard on our fight plans. But at some point, this is here. This is relatively low-hanging fruit of when you've cleanly won the previous fight, which you guys have. You can go, hey, let's punish them on the rotation. We might not wait until they get here before rotating back. We might start rotating back when they get here, but we can tax them a little on the way in.
So here with like composition, we probably should have switched to the DPS lineup, right? Or swap ball.
I mean, if they want to keep rotating Darkroom on you, it's sort of like your composition is a mess, but if they keep going Darkroom, it's sort of like, well, I guess we'll keep playing Mei. Like, yes, this isn't actually a composition that, in my mind, you want. This is a composition that I'd adjust off of. I'd really prefer to have, in a lot of ways, I'd have preferred to have the Ashe as opposed to the McCree, just because of what you can do with high ground, and like McCree's options are so limited in where he can go on this point. And I'd also have liked to have probably not Mei against most teams, because like you guys are mostly playing a poke dive hybrid, and then you just dropped a brawl character in the middle of it, right? Like, well, that's kind of weird. It helps a little bit because they're so poke heavy, but like it's sort of limiting your ability to poke them. It's limiting your ability to pester them in rotation. Other than walls, yeah, we could have definitely swapped our DPS line, or we could have swapped off of ball and gone, hey, we maybe want to bother them a little more with Winston. They're going to stack for us, etc., and we can get nice cleave. But this is fine. Okay, we're gonna hit our slam at our wall. Fine with you. And now you're just cleaning up with ults.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
10 seconds remaining.
So long as I heard the music.
What's that?
I have the music turned off when I play.
Oh,
It's been a long time since I heard that.
got it.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Actually, really
If we-
useful.
Sure.
Ready
Well, say
for
if
battle.
we can for time real quick, can we focus more on the attack for our attack for point B, more than
Sure.
for, because I think that was our
Oh,
biggest
yeah.
issue with our attack.
Sure.
Point
Yeah, we
A
took
was
point A.
like, no, we didn't. That was the worst we've ever played.
Your point A attack?
Point A?
It was because it was really messy and we didn't really know how to rotate properly, but you kind of answered that in like the first 10 seconds of our VOD.
Okay.
And it was like we just won because we out-mechanics them and our positioning was bronze. And
Okay.
point B was like actual Overwatch play.
Okay, I mean, we can talk real quick about A here. It just becomes a, hey, I'm going to rotate. We're going to stack as best we can behind the Fortify as she shifts, or we're going to stack behind the Sigma as she shifts, and then we'll use the other one to rotate here if we want to do the same rotation they did. We could also potentially, go, hey, we're going to rotate like this, etc., and then we're going to have left our soldier behind type thing, and our soldier is going to poke them from here as they go, oh, we want to deal with that, and that relieves a lot of pressure, and our soldier never really needs to catch up with us because he can play the off angle. But that's
I think we
kind of
did
the
that,
answer.
except I was playing Hanzo.
Okay,
and I
that's
just kind of stayed back and poked.
totally fine. Totally fine to do that with Hanzo.
Objective lost. New defense point. Objective
Okay,
B.
so now we have ourselves Hanzo ults and Bob and Supercharger. Okay. So let's see what you guys do in terms of angle control.
Oh.
They're not really making this hard on you, so they're going to let you have choke for free. Oh, and we're going to all run in the same way. Okay, so we could do this. We could totally do this. Or we could take multiple angles. So what's the benefit of us all running in this way?
We're together and can assist each other.
Or we
Sure.
can pick a target to run over them, but I don't know if we really have a good one.
With your Lucio and your Reinhardt and your Reaper, you're going to run over targets?
We don't. We have.
Well, I
poke
just mean
going.
like if,
I
if
know.
we're stacked, but yeah,
I'm giving you a hard time. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So, yeah, this is the sort of thing where it's like, this is useful for rotating together in some ways. Like, yes, you rotate through dangerous space better in some ways if you're together because you can sort of huddle behind Sigma sticking his hand out there to absorb stuff, and Arissa's big body with, when it's gold can sort of like, we can maybe sort of use that as cover. Like, yeah, you can do a little bit, but it would sure be pretty easy to like push your Sigma up here. Maybe you push your Sigma up here alone. Maybe you push your Sigma up here with the Hanzo. I don't care. Meanwhile, your Ashe or your Hanzo, either one, pops up here with your Mercy and does some work from here, and your Orisa pushes mid because Orisa doesn't mind fighting at this distance at all, right? Like, Sigma sort of needs to get closer, but Orisa's perfectly happy from back here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they go in to push your Sigma, your Orisa can just walk forward and shoot him in the back, right?
Yeah.
And if they push your Orisa, your Sigma wanted to get up here anyways and is like, oh, cool. I can just play around this direction now to throw my orbs. Works for me. Oh, I need to deepen my angle? Well, I might deepen my angle, or I might just hop up here and go pressure your back line. But, like, that's sort of how we want to think about it. It's actually not that common that we stack our shields. We sometimes get tight together when we're playing poke like this to rotate specifically, and you're sort of rotating right now, but ultimately to win the point, we're going to have to control multiple lanes. And our lanes are here, here, and here, and we're sort of going like, let's all run up one lane. Well, okay, are we then going to spread out? Like, are we then going to send someone over here? Are we then going to like have someone run in over here while someone else jumps across and takes this, and that's our multiple lanes? Like, we've got ground, top, and main. Like, it sort of becomes we're making this harder on ourselves than we have to. Like, I just don't need everyone to get this close because I sort of wanted someone here. Didn't you guys?
Actually, when I'm making a fight plan, like saying, "Oh, I want to come set up on the right side," like I was thinking, I could just set up right over there.
Great.
Should I be? That's what I normally do. But like, should I be? I mean, I know I'm not supposed to be like telling Storm, "Oh, you should set up right there," and Hanzook, you should be setting up right there with
Right.
Sigma. But how do I convey like how I want the angles to be set up quickly?
Sure.
Or
So
what do I do
you
with
can
that?
just, I mean, it's up to you whether you guys say, hey, You sort of just remind multiple angles. Like, you sort of just remind, and we're sort of having the discussion now so the team understands. This is a legit rotation call if you're playing Brawl and Reinhardt and you're all going to rotate up here. But if you guys were playing like Winston, Genji, Sombra, and your Winston was going up here, would your Genji and Sombra follow this way? Like, would it even have to be stated?
No.
Nah.
Right. If you're playing Brawl, you'd all go this way, but you guys aren't playing Brawl. So we just need to all as a team understand, I'm not going this way. Like it's okay my Orisa's going here, but if my Orisa's going here, my Sigma probably isn't going here. Because we're not rotating into here. We just have learned the map. We might stack our Orisa and our Sigma together for this rotation because we might want both, and we might want to make sure that no one gets run over independently, but we're just not worried about that in this situation. So even if Orisa says I'm pushing up right, Sigma's going to be like, cool, okay. Let me work my way up here, and I'll go like that. Like, this sort of needs to happen, and it doesn't really need to get communicated because it's kind of micro enough that it's in people understanding their own individual jobs. It's not the team strategy. Like, yes, the team strategy from a macro standpoint does need to be cover multiple lanes, but everyone just needs to know that. Like, we shouldn't have to call that, and it's totally okay to do a reminder of, hey, guys, let's get multiple lanes. But, like, we shouldn't be, you are correct, distributing, hey, Hanzo, you go up over here, Ash, you go far right over there, and I would like Mercy to go with you. Like, no, we're not going to distribute people like that. Let's just make a reminder, multiple lanes, guys, multiple lanes. Does that sound like something that won't tilt you guys and still accomplishes what it needs to?
That'd be really good, because, like, at least for me, like, I had just come from a Mei mindset, so I was just by default, I'm following my main tank.
Okay.
But, like, yeah, it's like even that, like, taking angles or multiple lanes or whatever, I'm just like, okay, cool, and I'm good with that. That's not a problem at all.
Okay. I think if you're all on that same page and you're good with that reminder call, I think you guys have this solved, to be perfectly honest. So let's continue. So you guys are doing a pretty good job of this, actually. It's not a skill that I value highly, but you're doing a good job of it. So here we are. You do a good job of getting a shield up there. You throw that out. The hulk's way too high, but that's fine. But what's nice that you guys do is you're getting pretty good uptime, at least with your tanks. Of, oh, hey, our Sigma gets work done. Then as soon as our Orisa or our Sigma throws that up, the Orisa recognizes that they can fully use that. And then once we don't have tools, well, I lied. Maybe we popped a fortify that we didn't need to. Okay, that's fine. So we got the nice halt there, and that's cool, but ultimately we kind of expect to lose this fight just on a macro standpoint because they're shooting us from here, and we're all bundled up for them nice and tight for halts and TNTs and such and rocks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'm going to beat a dead horse on this one because it's important, and you guys are then going to be like, ugh, I'm embarrassed. I don't ever want to do that again.
I do remember that our goal here was just to make them press Q.
Okay.
Because we knew how bad our ult economy was
and
going into that fight.
Fine, but generally what you want to do is you don't want to just like W into them or to feed to press that. You want to use a strong neutral game plan, because what'll happen is a strong neutral game plan has the potential to actually win if they don't use ult. So you're like, let's play a strong fundamental neutral game as if we don't have any ults, even if we do, to make them react and use ults. And if we get eliminations, even if our ult economy is worse than theirs, if we go up 1 or 2, we're probably willing to use our 1 or 2 ults to try. And even if, we then still don't win, they're probably going to respond with 3 or 4 ults if we go up 1 and then use an ult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which is still net going to be better for our ult economy. Mm-hmm. Are they going to punish you? Okay. 1 shift. Okay, so we were super slow on the rotation, but one shift would have been enough to get us through that. Yeah, so like we can see that this rotation was sloppy, and this is the sort of time where we stack, by the way. We would stack everyone that's going to go would stack for this rotation. And we're not really stacked, and we see that that kind of hurts us. It's totally fine if one or two people want to hang back and go, no, we're going to threaten this lane, but we would have stacked for this rotation, and we would have stacked here because this is the vulnerable spot. It's a really short vulnerable spot, and this would be just like a brawl comp where we'd go rotating in 3, 2, 1, go, and then we'd go type thing. And this would have been, we don't care if you window, we don't care if you halt, just Sigma's shift is going to solve everything that they're going to throw at us, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we'd properly sort of called out and done this rotation. Instead, we had slackers, laggers, whatever we want to call them.
We'll talk about that afterwards. We're just gonna start counting it down more, or remember to count it down more.
I don't know that you can talk me into that, Rez. I don't know that I think you guys are in this fight, but okay.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I'm just running away.
Yeah.
He just straight dips. He's like, guys, bro. Look at him fucking go.
Just Centaur just goes galloping away.
You're out of there.
Out, dude.
Nice.
I didn't see that in the game. I like Sig too.
Oh, they spent their TNT. I would love to rotate now. I don't think you needed that. Like,
so the fight before we called to pull it early so we could rotate exactly.
Oh, okay.
How we did there, and it didn't happen.
Got it.
So we kind of just did it.
Got it.
Well.
If you guys saw that this TNT got spent, like that's a big piece of their punish for the rotation. So I understand what you're saying in terms of we sort of did it because that's what we called for. But I think this is just a go 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 type thing. Like they've given up a lot of their stopping power. So that's fair though.
My bad to call for dragons to rotate here though.
Yeah, I generally don't like using ults to rotate. Like there's occasional situations where it makes sense. It's rare. I would much have preferred a, hey, my team got through here, my Hanzo stayed back, my team shooting from here, my team drops its supercharger, and these guys go, aha, we shall hide from your suit. Why is there a dragon coming for us? Like, I would have much preferred that. But hey. Okay. Don't supercharger. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I think I do it.
I can live with the Bob. And you supercharge after the window's over. That's fine. I think we're gonna re-go through this fight. Yeah. Okay. So let's go through this fight because this is a sort of decisive fight that you guys could have had. You could have won this game many times over with angled play, but we go through here, we push up, and we throw the window. And they're going to run to cover. They're going to scatter like rats, whatever, like, oh yeah, whatever, because you've shined light and that light is window. They're going to run. Now, we don't have anyone over here, and that sucks because we don't have someone here, we don't have someone here to threaten them, and it's not like they'd have been able to send, they don't have a tracer or something to stop us from doing that. They don't have someone to go pester that person. So, like, we'd have liked to have that, but even just doing this, hey, we did this, fine. We probably want to take some space during this window, though, right? Because they're going to retreat. Now they've retreated. We want to go out and take some of this space, even though this window is up and it's like, oh, people don't want to go through it because we're getting double strength. As soon as the window goes down, these guys are potentially going to take space back, right? And we're going to struggle to actually win the point from here, yes?
Yes.
So we need to either go take more space onto point and get like something that we can use, be like, hey, we're getting more aggressive so that our flux is more aggressive, or we're going to use angles, which again would be our preference. But that's fine. Even if we're just playing this the normal way, let's have our tanks push forward. I know that they're not going to get double strength anymore, but let's have them push forward for the last couple seconds of the window where at least they'll get double healing strength on them. Like, hey, that's something useful. That's almost like having cover. And the Bob goes through, and that's fantastic, but we really needed to push in here a little bit more aggressively. Like, it can't just be Bob and a little bit of Sigma that is our push. Bob is great. I'm a real fan of this Bob, and I can live with this supercharger, though I'd have preferred this supercharger probably get, more tucked in, like, here-ish type thing, and then we body block it or extend with the shield type thing. Like, I'd have probably said, let's do something like that, because this one is sort of like, you're anchoring yourself in here in a little bit, which I don't really like. Because again, we're going to go forward, and our Sigma's sort of doing the right thing of going, I have to get forward, I have to clear some space for us. Oh, and now we have Supercharger and Valk going. Do we need Supercharger and Valk going? Right. Those aren't as bad because we can spread out with both of those. If we'd set those properly and if we'd set ourselves properly, we can spread out while still getting most of the benefit of either or both of those. But we're just stacked on top of each other, so all we're effectively doing is we've basically given ourselves another window, which is like, okay, that's cool, but that seems kind of weak for what those two ults are. Like, these ults, I would consider both of these ults better than window, and we're basically treating them like another window. And again, this was really hard to push into because they were threatening you from here and over here, which is what we could have done on defense to just be a little bit harder to break. You guys are just gonna get crushed in there. You're trying to stabilize, but you're gonna get crushed. You use your lamp, which means we'll have one more maybe. Oh, that helps. I don't know about that one. Like,
why didn't he stay on point?
I guess I
Could have got a whole tick right there.
Could I? I don't think so. They would have been able to touch. It's just I traded and Storm's dead. Unless we can res Storm, we aren't doing anything. In my opinion.
I mean, I think you get a tick here. They don't have a tracer or a ball. You don't know that there isn't someone standing right here. You don't know that there isn't someone standing right here. But, like, in hindsight, I think this is a tick.
All I'm saying is, how's this point contested right now?
What's that?
It does say contested, doesn't it?
Ash is dead.
Yeah.
Ash, there's someone. It's gonna be.
Oh,
like,
you're right.
Totally this frame.
Yeah, it started to move.
Oh,
You're right.
okay.
It started to move just barely there. Okay.
They could. Maybe if I.
Yeah, they probably make that in time. You're right.
30 seconds remaining.
Okay, and this is actually going to be a better push than most of your pushes, as weird as that is, even with your Ash all the way back here, because your ball was able to come in from over here. Now, your ball's low on health already. Your ball's sort of a little early compared to the rest of you guys, but, like, even just the multiple directions is going to help this quite a bit, I suspect. As long as your ball doesn't get immediately eliminated, which, oh, you do, unfortunate. So just a little bit too early with the engage there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you guys can probably immediately identify what your big takeaway for this double shield comp is. So why doesn't someone tell me?
Angles, lanes.
Right. It's not about like, we rotated our shields better than you, and in this shield war we won. Like, shield war is a pretty niche thing, to be honest, and you guys are treating it like it's the main thing in a lot of ways. So, right. It's going to be all about the angles, and you have the tools to take that. We don't stack our Orisa and our Sigma most of the time, except for rotations, where we need to rotate the team through stuff. We take different angles, and our DPS are part of that too. Maybe that one of them's with the Orisa, maybe one of them's with the Sigma, but we can control 2 to 3 angles, sometimes 4, quite easily in this sort of composition. Things get a little bit more complicated when the opponents start mixing in flankers, so they play poke dive back at you and they start harassing DPS who go off alone too much. But by and large, against this sort of thing, you guys are absolutely in, hey, let's control 3 lanes. Oh, there's 4? Let's control 4 angles. Like, we're good with that. And that's going to be how you win. And if you want to advance, what you do is you deepen your angles, and that lets someone else move forward, right? Like, if we go, hey, if my team can't move forward here because there's nowhere to go, having someone here is going to cause them to go, ew, I don't like that, and back up and change their angle, and now it's easier for this team to advance forward. So yeah, you guys got it. It's going to be all about the angle play. You guys are going to have your reminder call for, take multiple angle or take angles, control multiple lanes, whatever you want it to be, but you're going to have the reminder call for that. But your big takeaway, both offensively and defensively, is going to be this double shield thing has a lot to do with let's take multiple firing lanes. Let's take multiple angles to go ahead and control this. So with that in mind, we did cover some specific stuff for people. Like if we get into things, CTW has a general habit of needing to play a bit further back. We need to think a little bit more about what does the Maywall mean for our engage in terms of, I think now as a team we understand it's almost always going to be, in this type of situation, like the engage thing. Storm understands that high ground exists. It's a thing I should just sort of default to when I'm on Ash. We understand like if our Orisa is going to be set up by Sarcophagus, we probably want to go, right, maybe we set our off tank up over here. We know our soldier can play with our off tank, but can also go in for these deeper things, as they see the team rotate. Like, I think we gave some of you guys individually stuff to work on, but the big thing as a team is going to be this angle work. So with that go ahead.
By any chance, do you have anything I can be working on? Like in ranked or not in scrims?
Lunar?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Lunar, the things that I would see for you to be working on here is your ball. I can see that you want to play the ball, you want to go over to the ball, and that's totally fine. Obviously, we saw that last one had the engagement timing there, and that's something that I'd notice a little bit that you could be like, hey, I want to pay more attention to this, and then I would want you to be aggressive. I don't hear your comms, so I don't know, but I would want you to be aggressive about calling when you're actually resting the angle open, when you're actually going, hey, my fresh shield is going down or my halt is going out, because that fresh shield, that is a push window. And, just like a pushing now, threatening now type thing on ladder or in comp games, or in ladder or in team play, both of those are going to help. Now, not everyone's going to love it on ladder, but it's still going to help on ladder. Again, I don't know to what level you're already doing that, but that would sort of be the Orisa thing, and that is your engagement timing on Orisa. And then on ball, we were perhaps a little early, and, we had a discussion around the hard commit there, which I agree you were right on. So I don't have something like super, super specific to this because, again, I couldn't hear your comms, but we did talk about this where it was Ash that started it more than you type thing. Okay. Anyone else have any questions, concerns, specific scenarios that they're like, wait, what are we supposed to do in this? Okay.
I think we're good, yeah.
And then let me end this one here.